Hi everyone, welcome to A Stitch in Time. Today is Thursday, January 29th, 2026, and this is episode 321. Lots of 20s there. I'm Carol, also known as Knits and Pearls on Ravelry, and I live east of Vancouver in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, Canada, where the clouds are rolling in. Up until a short time ago, it was sunny, and I thought it would be a good time to sit down and chat with you, take advantage of the natural light. So I didn't take too much time getting ready, just threw on a little eyeliner and mascara, that's it. Didn't bother getting into, something hand knit. I just thought let's seize the moment. So I'm surrounded once again with a whole bunch of knitting and spinning projects, and I even have some cross stitch to show you this week. So I'm just gonna jump right in, and some of these projects you have seen several times before, so I'm not going to linger too long on all the details. You can check out the last couple of episodes if you're curious, or as always, I do link my projects below in the show notes, link to the project pages on Ravelry. So if you are interested in more information, you can go there and check it out. So I think there's only one knitting project that I haven't worked on since last week, so I'll quickly show you what I have been doing. There's progress on my Christmas Eve socks. I finished a sock, yay! So this is the West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply Sparkle, and this was their latest Christmas colorway called Mulled Wine. And my usual 64 stitch top down sock on a 2mm needle. And I did a German short row heel and a rounded toe. So I have one sock, yay, completed, and I've cast on the second and got a fair bit done on it actually. Working my way down the leg, so I probably have about 3 inches maybe to go before I do the heel. And here's a look at the, ball band is kind of catching the glare. So still loving this yarn, loving this project. I thought this would make the most beautiful sweater. I was thinking, this year there were quite a few sweaters that had Christmas themes. I think Isabel Kramer had one that looked like Christmas ornaments. I know one is called Yule. That might be hers. I know there are others. And I thought, oh, wouldn't that be gorgeous as the body and then like a white contrast or a light contrast would be a light gold contrast. Anyway, I'm not doing that, but as I work on them, I think how pretty that would be. A nice Christmas sweater. I think I'll content myself with the socks. Speaking of socks, I've done a little bit more on my husband's socks from this Pro Lana Golden Socks Matterhorn. I think I need to, there, that's better. This is color 450.10A. And I think in the shops it's shown as red-blue or blue-red. And I'm calling these my experimental socks because I am knitting them on the Addi Sock Wonder needles, which are 10-inch circular needles. One has a tip, or one tip is about 2 inches long, the other tip's about 3 inches long. So I knit on these now and then, a few stitches at a time, and eventually they'll be done. I still don't love them as much as Magic Loop. Still getting used to the needles, but I really wanted to give them a fair try. So they're coming along. These are probably going to take forever, and that's okay. My husband is not lacking for socks, so I'm not worried about that. And yeah, I'm just gonna take my time. They do use different muscles, you know, in your hands than normal. You're holding the needles a little bit differently and taking smaller stitches, I would say. They do feel like they're a little bit tighter, a tighter gauge than when I use my magic loop needles. Time will tell. I cast on 68 stitches for those socks. I used to do 72, and my husband was finding they get loose as the day goes on. And so these may even be tighter than normal when I knit a 68 stitch sock, but we'll see. It's all an experiment. Let me see, what else? Oh yes, so I have also my Unwinding Hours shawl. That is by Chrissy Prang of Left Side Knits. It doesn't look much different than the last time I showed you. I think I've just added on a pattern repeat. So I'm knitting this as a reminder with some hand spun. This was Fibernymph Dye Works Mixed BFL in the This Day We Fight colorway. No matter how much I knit, this ball never seems to get smaller. But the shawl is growing. And just carrying on. It's a alternating pattern of a plain stockinette and a lace repeat, lace pattern. Let's see, maybe better in the there with my sweatshirt behind it. That's a good look at the stitch, at the lace pattern. So yep, again, this one is a when it's done, it's done. I'm gonna knit it till I feel like it's big enough. And yeah, it's got, with the stockinette, those rows are easy. You do like 7 row stockinette, and then you do a garter round, or row I should say. And then you do the lace, 6 rows of lace, and then you do a row of knit so that it separates out the different sections. You have a purl row. So the knit rows are easy, just knit and purl rows are really easy. You just have to, you know, knit away, but it's when I have to pay attention to the lace. I have to be in the right frame of mind, have the right light, have the right, you know, quiet, all of those things. And so they don't get worked on as much as some of my other projects. And part of the reason for that is I am trying to finish up certain projects in the first 3 months of this year as part of the Fibernymph Dye Works Keep It Simple Make Along. In the first quarter, the special challenge is whipping your whips. So I thought that would be a great motivation for finishing up some projects. So anything that's not a whip from 2025 is falling lower on the priority list. And that is why I did not work on my Crooner socks by Nancy Wheeler this last couple weeks at all, or at least I don't. If I've worked on them, it's been very little, so I won't bother showing those to you today. What I have been spending a lot of time on is my Ice Landscape Shawls by Stephen West. I'm just gonna see if I have find the photo of it in among all my pattern pages. There we go. I was thinking last night as I was working on this, I've been spending a ton of time, and the rows are longer, and they're taking a lot longer to knit. And the funny thing is, I don't really wear my shawls a ton. I do wear them sometimes, but I don't wear them a lot. But these are, I'm knitting these purely for fun, just for the process, because I fell in love with this pattern when I saw it. And as I've said before, there were 2 color palettes that I was really drawn to in the Stephen and Penelope online yarn shop, and I ended up buying similar colors from Holst Garn, the super soft, so I could knit both colorways for a lot less money than it would have taken me to knit just one of them. But yeah, I'm thinking, what was I thinking? But I don't mean to make that sound like I'm not enjoying it. I am. I just thought, wow, I'm devoting a lot of time to knitting 2 shawls of the same pattern. I've never done that before, but it's just really fun to see how it's knitting up in the various colorways. So this is shawl number 2 in the Geyser color palette. Oops, I think I'm just jiggling the desk there. So section 1 was the garter stitch. Section 2 is this syncopated brioche. Section 3, garter stitch stripes. Section 4, this woven check, I think it's called, something like that. More garter stitch stripes. And now I'm on to what I think is the nicest feature of the shawl, the mountains. So I have completed, well, all but my knit row back across the wrong side. I've just about finished 3 pattern repeats. And so I still have 5 to go. So these are constructed by doing short rows and all across the row. So even though it's technically like one repeat across the shawl on the right side and 1 on the way back, because you're doing short rows every time, it ends up giving you, as you can see, the height of multiple rows. So this is taking quite a while. We've been watching a lot of curling this past week and a bit, and I've been working on this a lot during curling. So it's always, because there's 8 colors in this shawl, there's always that motivation to get to the next color and the next color and the next color and see how it knits up and how it plays with the color next to it. And I definitely have the rhythm of this mountain pattern down. So once I finish the beginning of the row and make sure that I'm all lined up ready to go across the row, then it's pretty mindless. The trouble is sometimes I lose concentration and I end up, I've done it a few times now, where I've ended up, when you finish your bottom of your triangle here, you knit across it, and then you knit a certain amount of more stitches, and then those are the new stitches to create the new triangle, and then you knit back and forth on those stitches and consume the ones on either side of it. And if I'm not careful, I forget to knit those extra stitches, and so I end up with knitting a triangle on a triangle, which messes you up totally. And if the light's not great, or if I'm not paying attention, I've either caught myself before I've done it, but I have done it several times and had to take it back and redo that part. So not fun. So this is the, I think it's Winter Jewels color palette. They're just entirely, completely different. But I do love these jewel tones too. So I can see the light on the camera of my phone adjusting and readjusting. So I'll just take you down there. You can see I've now completed 2 rows of the mountain pattern on here. So coming along. This one's going to take a while, but that's okay. Again, other than the fact that I would like to have them done by the end of March, you know, I don't want to not enjoy them. And, you know, there's nothing worse than knitting something because you have to. Take some of the joy out of it. So I'm trying to just enjoy the process and not be too impatient. Which is a theme this week. Maybe since we're talking about that, I will jump right to what the reference is into the title of today's episode. So since I saw you last, I spun a braid of superwash merino nylon from Useful Creations. I had been watching a podcast and became aware of something called 3-ply 2 ways. I think that's what it is. The gist of it is you take a braid of, I guess it could be any yarn, but in this case it was to do socks with. So you take a braid of fiber and you divide it in half. And you spin one half end to end, top to bottom, and then you chain ply it. The other half of the braid you divide into 3. You spin 3, each section separately, and ply them together. So you end up with 2 half skeins of 3-ply yarn, but spun in 2 different ways. And then you, in this case, you knit socks. Andrea Mowry did this, I think it was last year. I think she had a knit along about this. And you knit a pair of striped socks. So you would work 6 rounds. I think she suggests 6 rounds of one braid, 6 rounds of the other. And because they're spun differently, you can see the difference in the stripes. So I was very eager to try this. And so I did not have the best braids in my stash to achieve this with a merino nylon. But I did take this braid of purple yarn and I spun it up. So this is the braid that's been 3-plied in a traditional way. And you can see that there's barber poling, and you can see there are different sections. Now it is a dark braid, and so the colored sections are not as distinct as they might be on some braids. And also the braid itself was not, like sometimes you get them and they're dyed very specifically, green, brown, purple, yellow, and follow a pattern, where this had differences, but also they were a little more random. So it's not the best braid to do it on, but it's what I had and I was anxious to try it. So unfortunately, I was so anxious to try it that I spun I did this one first, and then I spun the second half of the braid end to end, and rather than letting the singles rest, I plied it right away. And that was a big mistake because this is what happened. I mean, it's a mess. So chain plying, you are, it's like doing a long crochet stitch as you ply. So as you pull the loop through of the single, the loop and the yarn you're pulling through it all twist together, and then you do another stitch and they twist together. And so your twists are kind of locked in to those spaces between each loop, between each knot. And so places where the tension was decent, you know, it's not so bad. See, that's a really good example. You can see that's where one loop ended and one began. But where I had a lot of energy in my singles, like well, I took it off the bobbin and it just went. It's relaxed quite a bit since then. I did soak it. But I mean, this is just loopy, loopy, loopy. A lot of tension. Now, it's not unusable. I did this before with one of my chain plied sock yarns and had the similar thing happen. And I did knit a pair of socks with it. It just creates sort of a thicker, less bouncy yarn. Like fabric. When you knit it, it's not as bouncy. But I mean, look, you can just see how springy it is and how curly. And I don't think you can fix that. I remember trying last time, but I think because your twists are kind of fixed between those knots, I don't think you can really loosen it that much. I mean, definitely it is a lot less springy as it was than when I took it off the bobbin, but you can just see the difference in the two skeins. And then, as I mentioned, because the yarn is not the ideal choice for this experiment, I expect very subtly striped socks, but I'm going to give it a go anyway, because I just think it's a fun concept. And I think I'm just going to have to try again with a different method of dyeing, like when a skein that has more distinct color changes, I guess is the best way to put it. So I have not measured to see how much yarn I have on it. I actually, on my traditional 3-ply, when I ran out of one bobbin, I just kept going and 2-plied it. So I actually have some 2-ply mixed in with the 3-ply, which I will separate out. But see, it doesn't look so bad like that when they're all bound up together. But they say patience is a virtue, and I agree. I just don't always have as much as I should. So to give you an example of a better job with a chain plied sock yarn, I have the fiber. I completed spinning the fiber that I showed you last episode from Little Barn Studio. And I think I neglected last week to tell you the color is called Beach Day, and this is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon. And I divided it lengthwise into numerous sections, not all the same weight. I wanted to keep the colors together, but I wanted a stripy sock with lots of small lengths of color, not long stripes. And so you can see here, I did a much better job with my chain plying. But I also had these singles sitting for, I think, about a week. And I think that was part of the key to it, was letting the singles relax more. And so there's the odd place. I know I have the odd pigtail. Here's one. That's when one of where your single, it's got a lot of energy. So when you pull it back to have the 3 lengths ply together, one kind of doesn't get pulled out enough. So that's a little, I don't know, pigtail, that's what I call it. There might be a better word or a more accurate word for it. And I can see, like, there's the odd section, like there, where it's a little bit curlier than it should be. A little more spring to it, but overall, you know, it's a much better balanced yarn, a lot better plied. So again, I've washed it, but I have not Yeah, there's another area. You can see a little bit too much energy. I haven't measured this. I haven't wound it back into a nicer looking skein. So I'm anxious to see how much yarn I have here. And this may, well, I might cast on both of these for socks once I'm finished my West Yorkshire Spinners ones. Anyway, this is they're gonna be very, very stripy, but just little stripes. And then there are places when I plied it that I definitely did get more than one color plying together. See in there again, that's where one loop began and one ended. Loved spinning this. This spun up so quickly and smoothly and beautifully. And so I'm glad that I didn't wreck this yarn in the plying, because I love it. I bought that at Knit City, and yeah, couldn't wait to spin it up. One more spinning project. I am continuing to work on my SweetGeorgia Corriedale in the Tapestry colorway. To refresh your memory, I spun half of 3 skeins worth late or in the fall of 2024. And I'm trying to duplicate it with what's left. So, pardon me, I have finished bobbin 1. So you can see all the different colors. They're very distinct here. If I don't expect I'll ever spin this colorway again, but if I did, I think I would choose a different plying method in order to keep the colors together more, because as you can see, they're all blended together and it's not like one stands out. I still love it. I think it's really pretty. I just know more things now than I did back then. Anyway, here I've got one bobbin done. My second one is close to completion. So then I still have the third one to go. Pardon me. It took me a long time to spin it way back when, because this one, it says from September to November 2024. So I shouldn't be surprised it is taking a while. And part of the reason right now why it's taking a bit extra time is I can't use my traditional wheel for long periods of time, or it irritates my leg and my ankle and my foot. So trying to be smart and not overdo it. But it's coming along and it's really pretty. I love the colors in it. So it's definitely an enjoyable spin in that way. But it's also not as free-flowing and soft and easy as it was to spin this one. This one just was such a pleasure to spin. It was just soft and it just practically drafted itself, and it was nice even spin. I didn't have to really work at it. It was such a pleasure to spin, and it took me no time at all. But again, patience. It shouldn't be about the speed. It should be about the enjoyment. And again, trying to remind myself of that. Speaking of slow work, I picked up my summer bell pull project. I'm on the second M. Let's see if I can bring that in. So I think since the last time I showed you, I've done this red flower here, and then I started doing purple yesterday. So it's coming along. My aim for this, again, I would like to try and finish it by the end of March, but if that doesn't happen, at the very least I want it done in time to finish it off and hang it up this summer. So that's my goal. Last episode I had like a gazillion acquisitions, and I said that's it for a while, but I did have an order on the way from Fibernymph Dye Works. So I did receive that since the last episode. So, oh, before I show those to you. So I was saying this spun up really, really nicely. But when I went to ply it, I made a rookie mistake and I forgot to switch the direction in which I was spinning. So when you spin yarn, when you spin the singles, you spin in one direction. Usually it's the Z, which I think is clockwise. Then when you ply, you need to go in the opposite direction to remove some of the twist from the yarn as you ply it. And this is what happens if you forget to do that. You just put more and more and more and more twist into your yarn. And so yeah, I ended up with this, and then I kind of realized, oh no, so I didn't waste too much, you know, but look how look how springy it is and just funny. So I thought I would show you what happens when you don't remember to change the twist. I did both sock yarn projects on my e-spinner, my Dreaming Robots electric eel wheel 6.1, and then I've been spinning the Corriedale on my traditional Ashford Traveler. Acquisitions, yes. So Lisa had a year-end sale with a healthy discount, and so I thought I would take advantage of that. Shipping, buying anything from the US right now, it's expensive, both because our exchange rate is not great, but also the shipping costs a lot. And then sometimes you get nailed with customs. And the problem is you never know when that's going to happen. I've ordered many things from Lisa and other places and not had to pay duty on it and the customs fee. And then other times you do. And unfortunately, this time I did. So basically, I think the discount kind of paid for my shipping, but then I ended up having to pay the duty on it. So it's a shame because it limits what's available. And I know right now people in the US are limited as to what they can buy from here in Canada because a lot of places aren't shipping to the United States. So it's a frustrating time for those of us who, you know, just want access to all the lovelies, and you have to really pick and choose. Anyway, Lisa, thank you for the beautiful, well, the healthy, generous discount, and then some beautiful products. So this is her Find Your Light colorway, which I absolutely love. And this is on the Heavenly base, which I don't think I've actually knit with before from her. It is an 80-10-10 superwash merino, cashmere, and nylon blend. So this will be socks at some point. I also, surprise, surprise, ordered some fiber, which I don't want to take out of the bag. So hopefully it won't glare too much. No, there you can see it. This is a new to me blend. It's a Polworth Silk, 85-15%. And this is the 2025 Down Cellar Studio Pigskin Party colorway called Tracks in the Snow. So I'm looking forward to trying a new blend. See this one, well, it's hard to tell in the packaging. It's quite a subtle striping. I was going to say this might be a better one for the 3-ply 2 ways, but I'm not sure. It's not. I'm not going to use it for socks anyway, so I wouldn't probably do that. But yeah, just to think of, this one probably would have been good for it because it had very distinct sections of the blue and the brown and the beige. But I hadn't heard of it at that point, so I was kind of out of luck. I also just picked up a new pair of scissors with birds. They're pointing this way. And what was funny is as I pulled out, I think it was when I pulled out my Downton Abbey socks, there was a pair of scissors in with them that I think I also got from Lisa, a similar idea, but I hadn't realized I had them before I ordered this. Just knew that I needed more little pairs of scissors. And then I also bought, on that note, a new pair of the Hiya snips. I have several of these and they are fantastic to put in with like a sock project or something. Here. These are the kitty snips. So you have a little kitty there and then you just close the thing and this comes off. So you protect your things, but you don't have to carry around a big pair of scissors. So great for traveling. And then part of the sale was that you, I can't remember if it was the first so many people or if you ordered during the sale. I can't remember what the promotion was, but she sent a little bonus. So 2 minis here and then some stitch markers as a thank you. So yeah, very, very nice package to receive as always. So that was fun getting acquisitions, yarny ones especially. All right, life. It's my mom's birthday today. Her 89th birthday. I don't think she'd mind me telling you that. And so, as we often do, Cameron and I are going to go up and spend the weekend with her starting tomorrow. We often go and see her around the time of her birthday. So this year it happens to land on a Thursday, but we're going to head up tomorrow and spend Friday night and Saturday night, come home Sunday. So probably if you're new, my mom lives about a 3.5 hour drive from here. And it's wintry where she lives, unlike here. We did have some nice, clear, cold weather, but we have, I think all we've had this year is the lightest dusting of snow once. I think it was in December. We've had a fair bit of rain before that, and it rained last night. It's supposed to rain again tonight and over the next few days off and on, but we haven't had a real, haven't had much of a winter this year. So we'll, apparently she doesn't have any snow right now, but we will head out to our family cabins on Saturday just to have a look around, and there's almost certainly going to be some snow out there. And then in 2 weeks today actually, we are going to Quebec City and Ottawa with our youngest son and his wife. And so in Quebec City, our daughter-in-law's brother and his fiance are going to come and spend a few days with us there. And then they live in Ottawa, so as does Bronwyn's other brother. So she's going to spend some time with family in Ottawa. And then my sister and brother-in-law who live in Toronto are going to come and stay with us in Ottawa for a few days. So it's a big, kind of a cool family holiday of sorts. And so It has been very, very cold back there, as it has in a lot of the east of North America, and they've had lots of snow. My sister, who lives in Toronto, in one day this past week, they had, I think it was over the weekend, if I remember. Can't remember now. My days just blur together. But anyway, they had the most snow in one day that she's seen in her, I think, 20-something years of living there. Can't remember, it was 20-something, 28 years or something like that. Anyway, even more maybe. Anyway, they had a ton of snow. They did a lot of shoveling. And then they kind of ran out of places to put it and invented new places. So, and I know Ottawa got a lot too. So, as did, I'm sure, many of you who are watching. So I'm hoping that the worst of the winter weather is over, so that it's not too cold and not too snowy when we get there. I'd like to enjoy some wintry weather, but nothing too extreme, not like it's been. All right, that is about all that's going on around here. So that just leaves me with something good. And I went to the Dickens tea shop and British import shop yesterday to get some loose tea. And if you were watching during Vlogmas, you will have seen that I went there. And one of the things is they carry different candy from the UK, including Cadbury products. And the Cadbury chocolate in the UK is different than what you find here in Canada. And some of the same products, we have some of the same products, but they taste different than the ones from the UK. And then they also have products in the UK that we don't have here in Canada. And I discovered a new one called Picnic. And oh, is it good? I'm having to just limit myself to like a bite at a time and make it last. So it has peanuts and like crisps, like Rice Krispie kind of things in there. They call it crispy cereal. I love it. They say call it dried grapes. Let's just call it raisins. So yeah, peanuts, caramel, peanuts, crispy cereal, and raisins. And it's really good. So highly recommend if you ever get a chance to try it. So that's it. I need to head out to the grocery store shortly and pick up a few things that we need before we leave tomorrow. Some stuff to make sandwiches for packing a lunch on the way up. Cameron's working half a day, so we will be going out to the Legion for dinner tomorrow night. They do Friday night supper, so Mom's treating us to that, and then I'm making jambalaya on Saturday. That's her, like, one of her favorite meals, and I always try and have it when she either stays with us, or we go and stay with her either at her house or at the cabins during the summer. So that's the plan. So I'm going to also go find a small cake or some kind of dessert to take up for her birthday too. So that is it. So I kind of caught me by surprise when I said we leave 2 weeks today for Quebec. I will try and get an episode in before we go, but there's a possibility that I won't, in which case it won't be until late February that I chat with you. So whenever we meet again, take care until then. Enjoy your crafting, enjoy hopefully some less extreme weather if you've been going through all the snow and ice and severe weather. And of course, if you live in the Southern Hemisphere, I hope the transition into autumn is nice for you there. So everyone, take care, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching.